兴呢，我们今天请到了Sam Udani先生来到我们杭州啊，到访我们公司。那我简单的为大家介绍一下 Sam 啊。Sam 先生呢，在他32年的一个职业生涯当中呢，他一直在为美国移民的这个群体呢在服务，当中呢涉及到美国的政治、政策等等方方面面。那Udani先生呢，他目前是担任 ILW.com 和移民日报的一个出版人，以及他的一个首席执行官，已经有超过25年的时间。那在他的带领下呢， ILW 已经举办了600多场就是移民法律的一个研讨会，这些研讨会呢都是给当地的移民律师来做服务的。那他并且出版了20多本的移民法的书籍，并且在10多个国家呢已经举办了几百场的移民的活动。Welcome, Sam.
Delighted to be here, madam.
Yeah, I know this is your second time to Hangzhou.
Yes.
What's your impression about my city?
Look, I think Hangzhou is a very impressive city. It's in the top 5 cities of China, it's very international. I can tell you that it's hard for me to get the proper food I like here from America, but I get it in Hangzhou. I can't get it in other cities. I'm enjoying the food here too, and the people of Hangzhou seem to be, very, very lively, and very happy to be here.
I'm glad you like here.
Yeah. I'm in the old ancient capital of China, one of the 4 major capitals of China, so happy to be here.
As you know, the EB-5 and EB-1A the project is very popular in our Chinese market. So you ask some questions our clients are most concerned.
Sure, go ahead.
那首先我们想来问一下 Sam 先生啊 ，EB-5诚信改革法案从推出到现在已经有1年多的时间。那我们投资人最关心的肯定就是申请数量和排期的这个问题。那我们就要问一问他。Reform and Integrity Act of 2022 has been implemented for more than 1 year.
Correct.
Yeah, so the investors are mostly concerned about the amount of applicants and the schedule. So I want to ask you, how long do you think it will take for Chinese applicants to obtain the green card?
It's a very good question, and of course it's very important because when people commit a huge amount of money to a project and they make plans for the family's futures, they want to know, how long it's going to take, and it's a very important way for them to make sure that their family's plans remain on track. Now, in the old law, before the Reform and Integrity Act, when you invested money in an EB-5 project, the location of the project in the United States did not matter. Did not matter. You could invest in any place you wanted, and it was the same from the point of view of timing. That's no longer true. Under the Reform and Integrity Act, there is a sharp distinction between urban HUA projects and rural projects in the sense that they have completely different quotas. And because they have different quotas, there are 2 different waiting lines. And one could be short, one could be long. Both could be long or one could be longer. It all depends upon what people do in terms of investments. So what has been happening, not just in China, but to some extent in India and Vietnam, and even places like the rest of the world, what we are seeing happen is that urban projects have been selling very briskly. We have official numbers from USCIS up to April 2023 and then again up to September 2023, which clearly show that the quantity of urban applications coming in, HUA applications coming in, if you multiply that by the number of people per family, which is usually 3, principal plus spouse plus child, you're looking at a waiting period today, as I can best estimate, is about 5 to 6 years for a Chinese applicant today. And it's only going to get worse. By the end of 2024, I expect that the waiting period for Chinese applicants for urban HUA projects to get a green card, a conditional green card, not a permanent green card. A conditional green card is going to be more than 10 years. Now, that might be okay for some families. That's perfectly fine if that's what they want. But if they want a quicker green card, there is no doubt that rural projects are the way to go. Currently, rural projects, you can expect no waiting time for quotas beyond the absurdly long processing times that the USCI, take to process the application. So that could take a year, year and a half, 2 years, but that's it. It's not going to be more than that. By the end of the year, by the end of 2024, I do not expect that to change. I expect that to still be under 2 years waiting time. So if you want a fast green card, you really, really want to go rural. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah， 那个 Sam 先生刚才已经讲了，就是 EB-5 其实我们没有区域可以限定的，但是呢，由于我们新法它是 有3200张预留签证，有2000张是在给乡村地区，有1000张是给高失业的地区，所以他预估现在我们高失业的地区的项目需要5到6年的一个时间，但是我们乡村项目可能1年或者说是2年的时间就可以拿到。目前暂时他是觉得还没有开启，所以他觉得如果说我们想要更快的去获得美国绿卡的话，乡村项目是一个不错的选择。
All right.
Yeah, okay. I will ask you the next question.
Please.
Will you still recommend the Chinese people to apply EB-5 for the next year, 2025?
Well, it depends. It depends. I mean, as you know, I believe the first decision most families make. Every family is different, and every family should do what is right for them. And so they've got to decide. Now, people consider many different countries. They consider countries like Australia, countries like Canada. Who knows? There's many other countries out there. From what I have figured, is that America seems to be very, very much one of the top countries from the point of view of Chinese families to make a decision to move to. So if they want to move there, now the big problem is that the other forms of immigration, EB-1, EB-2, EB-3, EB-4, are complicated and sometimes are feasible for some people, but many, many, many people can't qualify. Now, the only problem with EB-5 is that it takes a significant quantity of funds to commit. Some families have it, some families don't. But for those who have it, it's a fantastic solution because it gives you a green card relatively quickly, it allows the whole family, to immigrate as a unit without having a son or daughter there on an H-1B, and then you got to wait many, 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 many years before the parents can join them, and that's a heartbreak for many families. So it is a great idea for those kinds of Chinese families, and there's many of them. There's many thousands. The ones who get in line in 2024, especially for rural projects, are going to be the lucky ones. The ones who wait until 2025, they may have to wait a long time.
Yeah. 所以说呢，现在 Sam 先生刚才也说，如果说你要2025年再办的话，那这个等待的周期可能就会更久了。所以就是有这个想法的人可以赶紧行动起来啊。那我现在就要问那个 Sam 先生呢，就是刚才这个下面的这个答案就已经比较明确了啊。对于高失业的地区和乡村项目，就是他建议怎么去选择啊。What's your opinion about the projects in high unemployment area and the rural area? How to choose?
Well, choosing the project, there are two parts to it, right? One is that you want to make sure that you get your green card in the time frame that you like. And the other thing is to make sure that your investment is safe. And these are two completely different things, all right? And not the same. Now, in terms of getting it fast, as I already mentioned, rural is the way to go. There is no question anymore. If you're willing to wait 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, fine, no problem. You can consider HOA projects. But if you want your green card in 1 year, 2 years, or some shorter time frame, then you have to go rural. So that part is one part. In terms of HOA projects, let's say you're willing to wait. Either the two projects, you're considering, let's say, the financial viability. There is a popular misconception in China. Everyone in China seems to think, rural projects have to be more risky, and urban projects are obviously safer. That is true in some countries. It is true in China. In China, I believe that real estate investments in rural areas are indeed more risky. So Chinese investors who think, and Chinese families who think that the money will be safer in cities are thinking correctly from the Chinese point of view. But that's not true in America. Some things which are true in America are not true in China. Some things which are true in China are not true in America. Every country is different. In America, what you really need to check if you want your money safe is you need to check the capital stack. You need to check the collateral. You need to check what is your position in the capital stack. If you are in first position for a real estate project, no matter where it is, you're going to be probably very safe, no matter whether it's rural or urban or HOA. But again, those are the things you check. There is, as far as I can tell, virtually no distinction in risk between rural projects as a group and HOA projects as a group. Okay? So those who think that the Chinese rules of rural always being risky are true in America, that is not true. You're going to make wrong decisions if that's what you hold.
OK, thank you. 那个 Sam 先生刚才也讲了啊，就是说，如果说你想要更快的拿到绿卡，那你可以选择乡村项目；如果说你对时间无所谓，那你可以就具体项目而言。但是我们中国投资人呢，往往会有觉得，我乡村项目可能风险会更大。但是这种情况呢，适用于我们中国，其实它不适用于美国。那项目具体的风险还是要具体到它到底是第几顺位啊，然后它的资金结构啊，它创造的就业等等，就是综合来进行一个分析。那接下去我想问一下。 There are two types of project, equity or loan. Your suggestion?
It's very simple. Again, I come back to the same thing. It always depends upon position. It always depends upon position. In principle, there is no such thing as first position equity, but there can be. If there is no loan in a project from any source, private equity or bank or anywhere else, then it is possible for equity to be in first position. So that would be a terrific place to be. Same thing for loan. If a loan is in first position, that would also be a terrific place to be. However, if either equity or loan or both were in second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth position, then you have to check the collateral. You have to check to see if that is matching the amount of money committed. And in many projects in the EB-5 market, particularly right now, because it's very hot in China, the market, so lots of American projects are coming. I saw one project which had virtually no money from the developer. All the money was from the EB-5 investors. And it was a tremendous, and not only that, there was a bank too. So the bank was going to completely be safe. And behind that, it was all the EB-5 money. That kind of project, I'm sorry to tell you, but it was among the top 2 players in the EB-5 market in China. That kind of project is a risky project. You know, if something goes wrong, there's an incredible chance that you will lose all your money. So equity and loan, it again depends on position. And always remember, if risk is important to you to assess, look at the position and do not look at anything else as equally important as position. Position is everything.
就 Sam 先生刚才已经明确的表达了，就是如果说我们在 EB-5 项目选择的过程当中呢，其实 EB-5 资金的顺位其实是非常重要的。第一顺位的项目往往它的安全系数要高很多啊。那我们接下去也问一个，就是目前市场上 EB-5 的就是申请的费用在大幅度增长，那么这个是不是会有利于就是我们速度的一个提升啊？EB-5 application fees will be significantly increased. So, do you think this will be beneficial for the time?
I'm sorry to say no, and let me tell you why. First of all, the increases that are coming, we're not talking about a 20-30% increase, but the point is that going to mean faster processing? And that's what Congress intended when they enacted the Reform and Integrity Act. They wanted USCIS, and it says so in the law. In the law, it says that they have to charge, USCIS has to charge as much fees as necessary to get to process every case within 6 months, which I think is, a good target and a reasonable ask from Congress. They're giving a blank check to the USCIS to do whatever it wants, so long as it gets done quickly. Unfortunately, USCIS's track record in processing is very, very poor. And I really hope I'm wrong, and I really, really hope that they process the cases within 6 months, but I'm not holding my breath. Their track record doesn't give much hope.
OK， 好的。Sam 先生刚才也讲了，就是他认为就是短期内可能不太可能提出，虽然说移民局也提出了他们将在6个月内审理，但是他认为可能比较难以达成。Thank you, Sam.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to our company.